Hello and welcome to this week's Patriots Mailbag. I'm Doug Kyde. If you have a question for me, tweet it to me at Doug Kyde using the hashtag MailDoug. Bobby has the first question here. Hey Doug, I was just wondering if Stephon Gilmore should return this week. The 3-week absence is concerning and surprised the team didn't place him on IR. Yeah, I certainly think it's possible that Stephon Gilmore does play this week. The first hint at that is that he's actually scheduled to speak to the media on Friday. I'm not sure if that will actually wind up sticking, but the Patriots usually don't make players available to the media unless they're going to play, and the Patriots could definitely use Stephon Gilmore this week. I know it's only against the Houston Texans, but their passing attack definitely is the strongest aspect of Houston's team there, with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, and Randall Cobb at wide receiver. The Patriots could use all the help that they could get at defensive back to slow down that passing attack. And if the Patriots can slow it down, then they really shouldn't have that much trouble beating the Texans. Second question here. Hick Nil asks, do you think they try to get Harry going this week, force him the ball? No, not necessarily. I think the Patriots have accepted at this point that Jakobi Meyers is their top wide receiver, and that N'Keal Harry and Damiere Byrd and Isaiah Ford, Gunnar Olszewski, Julian Edelman, when he comes back, those guys will be in the mix as well. But Cam Newton just has so much trust right now in Jakobi Meyers that it would really just be a hindrance to the offense if the Patriots were trying to force the ball into N'Keal Harry's hands. That being said, I do think the Patriots need to get a little bit more production out of their wide receivers. Jakobi Meyers was the only wide receiver targeted last week against the Baltimore Ravens, and he's been great for the past 4 weeks. He really has emerged as Cam Newton's safety valve, that old Julian Edelman type role, but you would like to see him have some more options there at wide receiver. I think N'Keal Harry could eventually become that, and when Julian Edelman, he's expected to still come back off of injured reserve at some point, I think that he might be a good number 4/third down receiver / situational pass catcher to get mixed into the offense there too. Last question here. Nate asks, what can we expect out of the tight end position for the remainder of the season? I would say that Ryan Izzo will probably still be that number one option. The Patriots do have Jordan Thomas now on their 53-man roster. And I actually really like what I've seen out of Jordan Thomas. It was kind of a surprise that the Houston Texans waived him in September. He didn't really stick that well with the Arizona Cardinals, and now he's on the Patriots. He's a massive tight end target, 6'5", 277 pounds, moves really well for a guy who only weighs 23 pounds less than some offensive linemen, and he has a massive catch radius. I think his wingspan is something like 82 inches. He's got 34-inch arms and can really just snag the ball out of the air with his 11-inch hands as well. So didn't stick with the Texans, didn't stick with the Cardinals, but he's the number 2 option at tight end right now for the Patriots, so I would definitely like to see him get some snaps this week against his former team. Then eventually you could see Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene back in the mix as well. Both of the rookies are on injured reserve right now. I know they didn't show much early in the season, but maybe, with how much they've learned now through the rest of the season, being on the roster, now being on injured reserve, maybe when they come off of injured reserve, they could contribute as well. But personally, I'm a little bit intrigued about Jordan Thomas, so I'd like to see him get into the mix this week, maybe even in the red zone, since he is such a big target with a massive catch radius.